and welcome to another edition of Wolverine Chat. I'm your host, Tim Raymond. I hope you guys are having a great summer so far. Today, we're going to be going over the offensive depth chart, and I'm going to be rating each position group for the Wolverines this season. And here in the next few days, we'll do the defensive depth chart. Nate, our co-host, will handle that part of it. Before we get into that, I wanted just to share my experience up north at the Grand Traverse Resort. We had a Wolverine weekend. There was Friday night a whiskey and wine tasting with Charles Woodson. Saturday was a meet and greet with some 5 players: Makari Page, Donovan Edwards, let's see if I can remember, Will Johnson, and Junior Colson. I think I've got them all. Oh, and Colston Loveland. And also John U. Bacon, the historian, the wonderful, he's got a great book out right now called End Zone, and I highly, highly recommend you get a copy. I had a great opportunity to talk to him for a while. It was a great weekend, all told. Sunday was a little rough with the golf. It was raining and chilly. But Saturday was great at the dinner. Wonderful people there. I was treated so nice. Met some great people. Got to talk to Sam Webb for a little while. He was very kind and nice. Devin Gardner, always in his, he's Devin Gardner. He's just funny to listen to. The story about Devin Gardner was kind of funny, and I asked him at the Saturday night. I was he does the Panther games. He worked with the USFL, and he was at the game. No, I think it was the first game at Ford Field sometime in April. And anyway, I sat about 10 seats above where Devin was interviewing. A guy, I don't know exactly where he was, a few rows ahead of me and maybe a little bit to the side, threw something towards him, a paper cup or something. Now, I'm not sure if it was going towards Devin or just throwing something or what it was. But anyway, it hit just before him, and he looked back and stared right at me. He believed, I think he believed that I had thrown it, and he gave me a stink eye. It was funny. Not funny at the time. Security came down, and they ended up getting rid of the guy who threw it. But I told him that, and he laughed. It was a good time. But I wanted to also talk about how kind that my conversation with Donovan Edwards was. It was just wonderful. Just listen, attentive. He's very smart, articulate, and just explained a lot of things. I guess he played last year with a injury in his leg somewhere, torn something. I'm not even sure what it was, but with his leg and on an arm, that guy is going to be, can you imagine what he's going to be like this year? 100% healthy. Last thing before we go on to the depth chart, I wanted to thank Isaiah Hole. He's done a lot of things, but Locked On Wolverines is one of the shows that I watch all the time. In fact, I just watched one this afternoon, and he talked about the weekend too. But I'm telling you, he took time to talk to me, gave me his phone number. I shared some personal things with him, and he is just an amazing person. I loved his shows. I loved everything, how he talks, how he listens, how he explains things. And he shared some really nice texts with me yesterday, which mean the world to me. He offered to help me spread this podcast to get it started. So shout out to Isaiah. If you guys haven't listened to Locked On Wolverine, please do. You'll get the best information you can. And so anyway, great weekend. And I really encourage you guys to possibly come next year if you can. I was there last year. It gets better every year, and it's smooth. You get really some one-on-one with some of the players and some of the big shots, and it's fun. It's just a good, relaxing evening, and the meal was well too. Was very good. So, Michigan offensive depth chart 2023. Let's start with quarterback. If you don't know who the starting quarterback is, let's face it, you shouldn't be a Wolverine fan. But, of course, JJ will be entering his third year, his second year as starter, and I expect him to just have his best year. Whether or not he'll be in the Heisman race, we'll see. I think it's got a chance. I really do. I think a couple of Michigan players have a chance. But following JJ, I think Davis Warren, he's the walk-on. He's a kid who was looked at in high school, got sick, and got cancer, I believe, and leukemia, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but couldn't play. Anyway, he walked on and got a scholarship later. That's how Michigan does their players. They don't give up on them. And he has improved, and he has a good arm. He looked good in the spring game. And I think, in my opinion, he'll be back up. Now, there's Jack Tuttle, who transferred in from Indiana. He's a junior. He looked good too. So I think there might be a fight, but I for backup. But I think Davis Warren will probably be there. And then Alex Orji, the sophomore beast. That kid, I saw him run a play in the spring game, and as someone hit him, they just went completely down. It's like hitting a brick wall. I don't know what Michigan should do with him. It seems like he needs to be on the field. Now, he's a good runner. His passing has improved, and he has stayed. He'd want to stay in Michigan. I mean, he could be a starting quarterback at a lot of different places, but he is here. Now, it's possible in 2024, if JJ leaves, that he may be in the running for a starting quarterback. You just don't know. Jaden Davis will be a freshman, so it could be between the two of them. But I think he might get some playing time. Maybe that's what he's hoping for. Overall, I rate the quarterback room as an A+. Well, no, excuse me. I'm going to rate it as a solid A, not an A+. We're going to do A+ today. But I think the only reason it's an A is the backup quarterback. They don't have like a Cade McNamara and a JJ playing that 1A and 1B. JJ definitely is the star. And if he gets hurt, any of those guys could step in, but they're not going to step in like JJ. It will hurt the team. JJ is definitely A+, but as far as the whole room, I'll give him an A. Running back under Coach Hart, Blake Corum coming back after that injury, and I was at that game when I saw Blake grab his knee on the right sideline, and the stadium was silent. And when we saw him get up and jog to the locker room and then come back out and play in the second half, we all thought everything was okay. But as we know, it wasn't okay. He required surgery. He tried to play the next week in Ohio, but he just couldn't push off. He had over 1,400 yards, 1,463, I believe, 18 touchdowns. I think he would have been the Heisman Trophy winner or close if he had played the whole season. So he's going to be in the lineup, even though I've seen some publications where they don't even have Blake in the top 10 in the Big Ten for Heisman Trophy winners, which is a travesty. It just makes no sense to me. Backing him up is junior Donovan Edwards, 991 yards, 7 touchdowns, which is a good year. And he had those 2 touchdowns against Ohio State, and then I think the greatest run of his season against Purdue in the third quarter when he was about a 20-yard line, and he just played bumper pool and bumped off each of these guys and ended up in the end zone. I think he is going to be 1A and 1B. I think they're going to put both of them in possibly at the same time. Donovan can catch the ball. He can go out, do some crossing patterns. So I think they're going to be very dominant. You also got sophomore C.J. Stoke. He's going to come in and back those guys up. he's a solid player. Had a big fumble a couple years ago, but got over that and got back in the good graces. And then senior Isaiah Gash, if you remember against Illinois, he dropped a big pass, a big pass. And then right next play or a couple plays later, they went right back to him to the left side, and he made a great catch, kept Michigan in that game when Money Moody hit that game-winning field goal. And that was something special. So he's back, and then freshmen. They've got two. Cole Cabana, who's going to be, I think he'll get some action this year. I don't know if he'll play that much, but he'll be, when Michigan's up by 50 points in some of those games, he'll get in. And then there's Benjamin Hall. And if anybody saw the spring game or heard my podcast, Benjamin Hall was dominant. He was so impressive. This is just an incredible running back room, and I give them overall an A+. How can you not with players like that? Now let's go to the wide receiver group. A solid room. I wouldn't call it dominant or one of the best in the country. Now, I believe they were 70th in the nation in passing last year, so they're going to improve. They're going to get better. They are going to miss Andrel Anthony. I think he could have been something dominant, although I'll tell you, he had some passes. Another example against Illinois, a long pass on what we all thought was a free play. JJ went back and threw it to him. He was on maybe the 3-yard line. The ball hit him in the face mask. He should have had it. You get your opportunities, you've got to play. He had a couple other drop passes. So he just didn't have the great year, and you just don't go. You can't keep going back to him. Obviously, Ronnie Bell is gone. A nice, good, solid receiver. Gave his heart out to Michigan. I remember when he dropped that pass against Penn State his freshman year. Sadly, a lot of the Michigan fans got on him, and he fought back, went through that injury against Western Michigan, tore his Achilles, and came back last year to be a great, dominant receiver. Good control receiver. After that, with those two being gone, it's not going to help. But we're pretty solid. We're bringing in senior Roman Wilson. I think he's most known for catching a touchdown that was called back. And if you look at the highlights, it was a touchdown. I don't want to make excuses for the TCU game, but he bobbled it, caught it in the end zone, and that would have put Michigan ahead and would have gave us the points for the victory. But he's probably our number one receiver. After that, we got Cornelius Johnson, nice big touchdown against OSU. He's a senior. And then we go to a lot of young kids. Darius Clemens, he's our only prototypical receiver at 6'3", 205 pounds. He's from Oregon, Portland, and I think he's going to be get a lot of touches and a lot of targets this year. Let's hope so. And he may turn out to be a legend at Michigan. He really might. Sophomore Terry Morris coming in from Nazareth Academy in Bolingbrook, Illinois. He's a sophomore. And then we've got freshman Samai Morgan from my city, my alma mater, or I went to school there. So did my brother. He graduated too from West Bloomfield, the home of the Lakers. And I think he's a little shorter, 5'10", a lot of speed, a lot of opportunity, and I think he'll have a good career at Michigan. When we go to tight ends, we are looking at sophomore Colston Loveland. Of course, Eric All he transferred to be with his buddy at Iowa. Cade McNamara had some personal things happen at Michigan. I didn't really like how it all went down, but I wish him all the luck. And he was had that big catch against Penn State that kept us in the Big Ten title race a couple years ago and led us to the Big Ten championship. We remember that. Who else we got to see? Oh, transfer A.J. Barner from Indiana had 3 touchdowns last year. His longest was 43. Longest catch was 43. I think he's going to be a good, solid tight end. And then Matthew Hibner, senior, he's coming in from Virginia. And so we're pretty good at the tight end room. If I had to rate this room, I would rate it probably at a B. We just don't know how these guys are going to work out. Colston, I think, will do well, but he just played near the end of the season, and so we don't know. But I'll give it a solid B. The wide receiver group, I think I will give it also a B. So wide receivers and tight ends are at B. They could end up being better than we thought. We just don't know for sure. It just hasn't happened. Now, let's look to the offensive line. Our 2 back-to-back Joe Moore Award winning offensive line. Question, can anybody know who the last team or the first team to ever win back-to-back Joe Moore Awards? It was the Crimson Tide of Alabama. And they won in 2020. So what Michigan did 2 years in a row, again, Michigan and Alabama, the only teams to do it. So let's talk about that. We're bringing in at left tackle, Ladarius Henderson, graduate transfer. Probably his backup will be senior Jeff Bursey. Now remember, these positions could change. They get hurt. They try to interchange. And they did that a lot last year, especially with, I think Barnhart got hurt, and they had to move around. At left guard, senior Trevor Keegan and Giovanni E. Hadi Jr. He'll be probably at left guard. Center, we've got Drake Nugent. He's a transfer also. Raheem Anderson, the junior transfer from Stanford, I believe. I could have that wrong, but I believe it's Stanford. If anybody knows, if I was wrong, let me know that. Now let's go. That's at center. Let's go to right guard. Senior Zach Zinter, dominant beast. He's going to be back. Andrew Gentry, a sophomore, will probably back up Zinter. And finally, at right tackle, Carson Barnhart and Trente Jones. He's a graduate player, and so is Carson Barnhart is a graduate. Both coming back. It tells you what they think of Michigan, and to bring these transfers back, and even a lot of these other players that didn't have to come back, could have gone to the NFL, are coming back. Let me just say, and to rate this line, it's an A+. We've got an A+ offensive line, an A+ running back, an A quarterback, and then our receivers I put as a B. If this team doesn't go to the finals, I don't know what to think. Of course, I want them to beat Ohio State. Of course, I want them to win the Big Ten. Is that goal one? I think it's goal one, but goal 1B is making it to the finals, and then goal 2 is winning it. We need to get to that finals. We just need to take that next step, and they should. And I really will be disappointed if they don't win it all. They've got the team to do it, so let's just see what happens. But this is so exciting. We've got less than 100 days to kick off. I can't wait. I'm going to probably go to most of the games. I am really looking forward to it. Again, it's a good question. I mean, what would you think if Michigan lost to Ohio State and didn't win the Big Ten, but made it to the playoffs and went to the finals, or if they won it? Which would you rather have? I would assume a national championship would be, most people would be okay if they lost to Ohio State. But what would you think if they lost to Ohio State and went to the playoffs but lost in the semis again? What would y'all think of that? Anyway, I ask you to please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. It is really important to me that I grow this channel. We've been really slow over the summer. We just don't have the ability to to go, every week. If you notice, obviously this is audio again. We are working on our video. We did it last our last podcast was video, but we got some kinks and we're trying to get the equipment working right. We plan on doing 2 a week during the season, a pregame for every game and a postgame for every game. And that will all be on audio or video. So I still, if you remember from my last show, I still have a Jim Harbaugh Jordan Brand jersey signed and autographed that I am giving away. All you have to do is subscribe, every subscriber, and make a comment. If you do that, you will be in the drawing. And right now, people, we don't have a ton of people. So you'll have a pretty good chance of winning it. So please do that. Anyway, God bless you all. Have a great summer. Be safe. Enjoy times with your kids and family. Take advantage of it. I know we all want football, but it can wait a couple months. I'm ready to enjoy the summer. I don't want it to go that quick. It's already mid-June. Can you believe it? I was just at the spring game, April 1st, in a cold, wintry mix, and now we're mid-June. So take care. God bless. Have a great day. Go Blue. And if you have any questions or anything, please comment in the below, and we'll go from there. Take care. Bye-bye.